Good evening, everyone. Welcome to On the Level Racing Channel. And we're just round the corner. We've got the Great Royal Ascot meeting, which starts on Tuesday. 5 days of blistering, amazing racing, Group 1 action. Um, First of all, though, I want to touch base on a race that is taking place tomorrow in France, which is the Prix d'Ion Long Lines, which is obviously, as we know, is the French Oaks. And I really hope Charlie Meadows does get some clarification here. He sent She's Perfect over to have a run. Obviously, she's an unknown over the extended mile and a quarter. I would say on pedigree, she'll definitely get it. Uh, she obviously is the horse to beat because if you think about it, the stats around the guineas, 1,000 guineas, tends to favour the horse that won the 1,000 guineas. So technically, she didn't win it, but we all know she was first past the post, and we all know she won the race. But the powers that be went against them, sadly. I just hope they get some compensation here. It's probably well deserved. Well deserved. And I hope she stays a trip. And I hope Charlie Fiddles gets his first classic and Group 1 winner. It will be actually great for the Basher Watt Racing Syndicate also. Um, there was rumours around, obviously Basher came on YouTube and turned around and said that they offered 2.5 million, or sorry, 3 million euros for the horse, which is approximately about 2.2 million. Um, I don't know how many in the syndicate there is. However, it looks quite a few. But would you have sold for 2.2 million? Um, yeah, it was. I believe that. I think Badger said there was 38. I think 38 no's and one yes. So obviously someone wanted to buy out, but obviously he was outvoted. Um, but if she wins this, she's a £4 million horse straight away. Personally, so if she goes and lands this classic, then we're looking about a £4 million horse. So they won't really need to run her much more, just maybe one more race for the season. She's 11-4 to win the race. She is favourite. She has been like back and forth on the betting exchanges. Went out to 7-2, came into 3-1, 11-4, generally around with Betfred. No Zaragana this time. She will not be taking her place. But I want to touch base with a few from that race. So the form has already been franked with Godspeed, who finished eighth in the 1,000 French 1,000 guineas, and has actually come out and landed the Group 2 Prix de Sandringham. And sadly, she won't be taking her chance here. Gouffran was back in sixth that day. I've looked at this race quite a few times. Again, we've got an Aga Khan horse here, another filly, well respected filly called Mandanaba, who almost landed that race that She's Perfect won. Went down the inside, but she was just basically outpointed, finishing in third behind Sarah Garner and She's Perfect. She has form mind with Gazora. I mean, she's already beaten Gazora this year by almost just over 4 lengths when they met in the excuse my pronunciation, the Al Shira Double A Prix Vantier Group 3 in France at Paris Longchamp. And yeah, beat Gazora quite convincingly there under Michael Barcelona, who I do believe will be taking the ride again. And it's probably the horse to beat in the race, in all fairness. She's cheap. But the horse I want to look at here, there's two horses there. Now, firstly, Bet Together. Now, Bet Together finished fifth. Excuse me. Finished fifth in that French Guineas. And looking at the tapes and the reruns of the race, she was probably, I would say, running on well enough, but not good enough to get there. Um, but the horse that really stood out for me in that race, and I thought was given a very soft ride by Colin Keane. Now Colin Keane has switched to Better Together this time for Andre Faber. But this time, Ryan Moore will come over to ride Bedtime Story. Now, this is the horse I'm very, very intrigued in. Like I said, I've looked at the race a few times here, and I thought Colin Keane gave Bedtime Story, not a hard race. It was an easy draw coming from stall 9, even though the winner came from 7 and the 7 and 6 are 2 horses there. So I think Bedtime Story had a big chance here. So I said, ran out of stall 9 last time. Come back to stall 12 again, out in the car park, which ain't very beneficial there. But I think at Chantilly is a little bit different than Longchamp. I think you have time to come down the outside at Chantilly. So I would like to think the daughter of Frankel can actually be very much in the mix here on this soft ground. Don't forget, she was a promising sort last year. She won 4 on the bounce, which include the Chesham Stakes, Ascot, and then she went and won. She beat Exactly, who ran well in the Guineas, French Guineas, in the Silver Flash. Came out the Curragh and she won the Debutant Stakes there, the Group 2. And didn't really shine in the Morglia. We're finishing last over the soft ground and mile, but she's an unknown quantity on the ground. I think the way she was staying on in the 1,000 guineas, I thought a more patient ride. I think she could definitely get the 10.5 furlongs here quite comfortably. So I would like to think this horse is the horse in the race. I will put it back. I've missed a lot of the price already. I mean, she was as big as 6-1 yesterday. She's now as short as 4-1. Better Together is again another one interesting one, which Colin Keane takes the ride, coming out of stall 9. But I just think, as I said, coming down that straight in Chantilly, it's a little bit like Longchamp, but I just think the difference is you've got more time to come down the outside if you get a clear run. You don't need to be on the rails. You don't need to try and find anywhere on the rails. Don't need to find traffic problem. Just bring the horse wide and bring her down the outside. That's where she should be coming. And I think with the way the draws are, I mean, Mandenaba's coming out of 10. You've got Better Together out of 9. And you've got Bedtime Story at stall 12. She's perfect out to stall 7. A nice middle draw. There's no harm in that. And also another interesting filly, that which I thought might have actually gone into the Guineas, the French Guineas last time out, and didn't make it, which holds for Ed Walker, which is a Birakan Gull, who is a mile winner at Chantilly. But I think she will have a lot to do coming here with such a 40-day absence. But you never know. Gazora, I mean, I actually think Gazora won a big race. I think again ran a good trial for this race when landing the Prix Saint Hilary over there at Longchamp, and she is a horse that will get the 10 furlongs. She's proven it already on the good to soft ground. I'm just a bit concerned that maybe my first analysis on that she was probably win the race. I don't think she will be inconvenienced about the ground. She's won on heavy ground, a Group 3 last season as a juvenile, and she won on soft ground also. But she was beaten on good to sound at Chantilly last time out, now, which is good form. Now, she was beaten last season, the juvenile, in the D Condé Stakes of Group 3 when finishing a neck behind Lady Griff. Now, we know Lady Griff has run an absolute cracker since when she was runner-up in the Derby, again behind Lambourne. So definitely form line there. Again, Lazy Griff, sorry, came out and finished second at Derby. Good form line for the other horse there, which is Gazora. So yeah, and then France is it's changed hands since then. I do believe Gazora. Was trained by Enrock. I don't know who Enrock is. Now trained by Franz Rackefard, who has quite a few in the race. He's got Kakuka at the top there, Kakura. Mandenaba also has, obviously, Gazora. So he's quite well representative here. But I think we could see a little bit of pace making here. Smart O'Brien has brought over Merrily. To possibly set fractions, hopefully, for Bedtime Story. If that's the case, then I think we are. I think I've missed the each way price. it's going to be for me a win bet on bedtime story here in the Prix d'Anne. Like I said, if she's perfect, but she proved me wrong last time. She really proved me wrong in the Guineas. I didn't think she run that such a big race. Shocked me. I was actually in awe. I thought she won the race fair and square. But it's a bit of a, will she get the 10.5 furlongs? Charlie Fellow seems to think she will. But I think bedtime story. What I saw in that Guineas, um, he's a hold up. She's a hold up horse. Ryan Moore has got on the plates, and I think she is the one for me personally. Around 9-2 with Corals and Ladbrokes, and generally with Bet Victor as well. 4-1 with other firms. So yeah, that'd be for me. So now we're going to go straight on to a bit of Ascot. So we kick off. Let me just get up here. Let's have a look. Right. I have got my selections. I've already done them. So if you can just give me 1 second. Just got to get a couple of things up. How did you get on today? Any good winners day, hopefully? Um, I didn't think much of the race on day. I fancied Al Kareem. Didn't back it. Won nice at 9-2. Um, which is quite annoying when you do miss winners, but yeah, when you don't put money, you're not losing, are you? So we're going to look first at the first race of the day on the Tuesday. What a cracker to start off a meeting. The Queen Anne Stakes, and what a feast, what a great field. I think it's a very, very, very strong field indeed. We're looking, obviously, we're going to be looking, I think, from the window should be coming here that ran probably in the Lockinge. The money has been coming for Rosalium and also Notable Speech. Both were third and fourth in that Lockinge. I can't really see anything else in the race getting involved. You got the American horse, is it, or Australian horse? Let's have a look. Can't remember if it's American or Australian. Australian horse, Carl Spackler, which again is a horse that's won 2 good trials for this race and recently won the Mark Mile, which was also a very, very good trial for this race. The last horse to run in that race and came here and won the Queen Anne. So, but like I said, I think it's all around the Lockinge, and I do think Rosalian here is the horse to beat. First, you've got to read it carefully, but Lead Artist, came out completely flopped, as we know, in the Bet36 Mile at Sandown. But then I came in and I tipped up Lead Artist to win the Lockinge. Stayed on really well to defy Dancing Gemini. But this time, I think the fact that, like I said before, I think the 2 horses you've got to look at this race. I think the horse that's finished behind, for me personally, I think Notable Speech finished a good fourth, came down the inside on the rails, didn't quite go in there. But I actually thought Rosalian stayed on better, needed the run most definitely, and finished just 2.5 lengths behind the 2 in front. And I expect Rosalian to come on for that much better. A good straight mile, quick ground. Yeah, Sean Levy on board again for Richard Hannon. And that's where my first bet of the meeting will go. Will be on Rosalium. We move on to which will be the 305, which is the Coventry Stakes card. This is probably usually one of the hardest races to get right, considering Watts wins these races. Give me a second. I had it all up earlier on, but I just got rid of them all, so I'm just going to get them back up again. Won't take long. So if we look at the winners of this race, the recent winners, last year 80-1, Rashabar. Yep. Then we had a 151 shot in here as well, back in 2020 in Nanda Parado. So I mean, you don't be worried about backing the outsiders here. I mean, considering like so one, two, three, four, five, six have gone to the either the favourites or the third favourite race. So top three in the betting. But however, over the last 4 years, 5 years, we've only seen one winning favourite, which was River Tiber of Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien. So it's worth it. For me over the last 5 years, the trend have changed a little bit. The course of the race has been completely different, and outsiders have been winning it. Um, and when you look at this, when Rashabar won it at 80 to 1, um, this horse was finishing second in a maiden at Chester. What it's not as you can't be write a book. But I have looked at this race and I have stayed away. I mean, you've got to look at horses that have really been impressive. So Postmortem couldn't be more impressive when landing his the debut win at 5 minutes at Yarmouth, a novice stakes under Jamie Spencer. James Doyle will get the ride this time around. Do I think he's good enough to win this? No. Didn't really beat much on debut. He was backed to win the race. So I'm going to go for two in this race. Is going to be coming from Aidan O'Brien's yard, not the one you probably think I'm going to back, and also another as well. So I'm going two against the field here. My first one is Flushing Meadows. A lovely colt by Wood and Bassett. The Wood and Bassets are flying at the moment. They're really hard turning out some big winners. A great win on debut, winning by 11.5 at a maiden at the Curragh over 6 furlongs. And yeah, I think he has a cracking chance. But you can get 16 to 1 with Bet365, generally 10 to 1 with Corals, as tight as arseholes. And you can get 16 with Bet365 and Boyle Sports. Sky Bet goes, they're all going 3 places, guys. I mean, so I would take the 16 one with Bet365, best odds guaranteed. And I think Flushing Meadows will run a big race. Another one I want to look at also is Underwriter. And Archie Watson here. Out of a horse called Memas, which won nicely on debut at Ayr and Maiden Stakes by 2 lengths under James Doyle. And I think this horse will progress even further. He wasn't really given a hard race by James Doyle. And I think he also could be in the mix here. So, like I said, I haven't really looked much into the race. I don't really see much getting into it. Like I said, with anything wins this race, the commentary is one of the most hardest sprint juveniles races in the whole calendar of racing. So my 2 bets against the field, if they do turn up, will be Flushing Meadows at 16 to 1 Bet365, and you can get 14s with William Hill Underwriter, 12 with Bet365 as best odds guaranteed. So that's my 2 against the field. The 340 is the King Charles III Stakes. Again, it seems to be a race that doesn't really favour the Charles III Stakes. It doesn't really tend to favour the favourite on many occasions. Not many have won over the last few years. In fact, there's been last winning favourite was Odds On Shot Batash. That was back in 2020. Yeah, it just doesn't generally. The favourites don't generally win this race. The second favourites have a great record. That's where you should be looking at. I think at the second favourite if you're going to back as a single bet. That's all the money around for Asphora. Iceland Murphy comes in for the ride through it. Last seen at York when finishing 4th last season in the Nunthorpe, which was quite impressive there. It's Stardust in 3rd, who will also come into this race as well, and Believing. So Believing's for me, Believing is a frustrating horse. Now, he won this race last year, and I don't think he'll go back to back. I just don't believe he's capable of going back to back, believing this year. As for it, is definitely a big threat for Icy Murphy. But also, I like in this, and I do like this one quite a lot, and that's Carl Burke's horse, Night Raider. Last seen finishing third to Inisherin in the Duke of York Clipper Stakes. I thought it was a cracking run, even though the horse went down by nearly 4 lengths. Um, I just thought, yeah, he went an absolute cracker. And I think he's got a good chance. But no, but I see Murphy obviously has deserted him for the ride on Asfora? Yeah, Asfora. So I see Murphy might be taking the ride there. Believing, well, George Borgie has cleverly managed to get Ryan Moore on board, which is absolutely fantastic. Good. Ryan Moore's got a good record with the horse. He's ridden the horse now three times. He's won once and finished second twice on him. Um, yeah, he rode him when he finished second to Brad Sell in the Norfolk last year, and he had to be second again in the Flying Five behind Brad Sell once more. Believing is the horse that should be really winning this race. Um, he's already run the Alcourt Sprint, which is a very good trial for this race. Did it really well on the quick ground, and he did it from an impossible stall as well. I mean, considering throughout the meeting, for some reason, high draw was supposed to be favourable. I mean, the first three home were low drawn. So it just goes to show how bad quality the race was, really, in hindsight. Regionals back in third there will also take chances here. So yeah, I think he's got a cracking chance, believing to come back here and win again at Ascot, but it's going to be a tough one. The horse that's been flying at the moment, Ed Walker's Magira, very impressive on both runs. Took the previous on George, the Group 3, back on the 11th of May this year, and came out again and built a more stable form when landing the Temple Stakes at Haydock, which again tends to be a very good race for this, but it doesn't tend to fancy the winner. Fair enough. Um, and the horse I want to take from that race, which I thought who ran very disappointed, was Ralph Beckett's Starlust. Finished back in seventh. Didn't get really much of a run. Um, yeah, he won the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint last year. I think has to be respected. Starlust again, but we just have to see if the horse has got that potential and hasn't lost that that little edge. But for me, I'm going to play two against the field here. I'm going to stick my neck out here. I think Believing should be on the premises. Going to be a bit short though. He's currently going off at 9-2 favourite at the moment in most firms. Asfura is definitely the speed horse. Um, Obviously, we won't know the draws yet. And I would like to think Night Raider will run a big race under James Doyle around 8-1, generally in most firms. So my two against the field is going to be Believing and Night Raider here. That's in the King Charles III stake. That's the third race on the card, the 340. On to the 420, which is probably the best race of the day, which is the St James's Palace Stakes, Group 1, where we see Field of Gold and Rudincourt take each other on once more. And you've got Shadow of Light in there at 14, but I don't think this will be where he will probably go. I would like to think he will probably head for the Commonwealth Cup, which would be very much on his radar. So I think it's very difficult to overlook the first two in the betting. Obviously, we know Field of Gold's got that lovely turn of foot, and it's great to recently that Colin Keane got the job for Judgment stud, which is a great thing for him for his career. Ruling Court, again, I thought the horse was didn't settle very well. in the Guineas, even though when it looked like it was going away to win it, but it was a bit all over the place. So I think Field of Gold, as a betting perspective, I can't have a bet at 8 to 11. It's not for me. I don't do bet 8 to 11s. Best horse in the race. I can't, if I'm going to look around for a bit of value in the race. I'm not going to go too far down the line. And a horse I think I run really well. I'll stick my neck out again. Could be wrong. Um, is Charlie Apple was his horse Opera Bello, who won the listed Heron Stake of Sandown on the 29th of May and won it really well on the William Buick. Ran pretty keen, settled behind leaders, closed out, pushed along and led well over 1/3 out, rid it and stayed on well inside the last readily on good to firm ground. We'll look at fast ground. I think he's a big danger if he's there on the premises at 16 to 1. It's hard to, like I said, it's hard to overlook the big boys, the Field of Gold and Rudin Court. Um, Aidan O'Brien's got Henry Matisse in there as well, who I thought just got up to beat John Quill in the French Guineas. I thought it was given a really hard race, to be fair. Had to do a lot of work coming down the inside to land the race. We don't know who. Rymore hasn't been. I don't think it's been. No, he hasn't been selected the horse yet. But the thing is, the fact is that Rudin Court's William Buick has deserted Opera Bello for Rudin Court, and why wouldn't you? He's a classic winner. So so it should be the top two in the betting. But I'm going to go for me a small each way on Opera Bello for the Charlie Appleby again. Depends who will get the ride. It'll be interesting to see who'll get the ride. But yeah, I mean, who's obviously know William Buick rode it last time. Who else has rode the horse? James Dole. So maybe James Dole, or maybe Billy Lockname will get a ride. That'd be great for him. But yeah, I'll go each way, small little bit each way on Opera Bello in the King St James's Palace Stakes. Even though I think Field will go, I'll probably win the race. But Colin King's there for a reason, and the reason that he's there is to win. But his turn of foot in the Guineas in Ireland was pretty impressive. Then we go to the Ascot Stakes. Now, I'm not really a handicap fucking boss. Excuse my French, but I'm not really clued up on these kind of races. I did have a look through it. I thought it was a very tough handicap to get involved with. But reaching high there for the, I think it's is that for the royalty? Willie Mullins trains. Ryan Moore will ride for Willie Mullins. Reaching high. I mean, he's looking to Willie Mullins is looking to increase his resume with training a winner for the Royals. The Royals. That would be some winner for the Ascot, wouldn't it? Royalty. East India Dock. You've got to respect the horse. I think that's James Owen's horse. Ran, got beaten. I think beaten in the Triumph Hurdle. Unlucky. Polly Ross is there as well. William Buick will ride. That horse for I think for Mullins. And then we've got two bossy for us: Colin Keane, Manxman's Sean Bowen, and Cabaret de Mar, who I don't think will probably go this way, and Mr. Percy won't go this route either. Even though I did fancy Cabaret de Mar, but I think he's got another race that he's featured in. I think, yeah, he's in a couple of horse stakes, which I probably think that's where he'll go. So, as a bet perspective for the Ascot Stakes, it won't be fair on me to say, yeah, I'm going to back that each way. I haven't got a clue. I think it's just going to be a race that I'm going to watch. If I fancy, if I if I'm watching I'm just watching it as a perspective. I'm not having a bet on the race. But if I was going to have anything, it'll be Manxman each way. That'd be it. But I'm not telling you to back it. That's in my head to watch the race. Manxman each way. No, it depends how many. They're offering 4 places at the moment. Maybe Sky Bet will up it to 5. It's 5:35, which is the Wolverton Stakes, and I am all over this horse. I really think FJAR can land this for trainer. Roger Vernon and Jim Craddy. Jim Craddy won his race last year, and I would like to think he needed that run in the Brigadier Gerard Stakes over at Sandown on 29th of May when finishing 5th. Was pretty one paced on that day. However, I think there's a bit more to come from him. And I think we could see FJR run a huge race. It could be one of those horses that's a listed or a handicapper that's in a very weak listed race. It's to me, it's not that weak, but there is some quite a few exposed runners. But running line, for example, down the bottom there for John Gosden's being declared. Will probably be up in the top of the market. Should not have been beaten at Haydock in the Oak Stakes. Um, she looked like she had the race won, and she was literally picked up very easy by Diamond Rain, Charlie Appleby's horse, and I wasn't really impressed, to be honest. Yeah, that was over a mile and a quarter. It's the furlong less, so you have to respect running line as well. I mean, she ran a big race. I say it's the furlong shorter than last time. So yeah, if she's at the front, which she probably will be, she's normally a front runner. She could have a say in the matters. But I think FJR is a horse that is well handicapped here of 109. Currently, fight you can get 6-1 with Sky Bet, paying three places. Generally, most firms only go fours. Unibet only goes threes. So yeah, 6-1 Sky Bet each way. That's a good each way bet for 6-1. Sky Bet on FJR, Jim Crowley and Roger Varian. And also watch the market for running line. She's currently 8-1, but just keep a little eye if the money does come in for her. Final race is the Copper Hall Stakes. This is the race I think that my selection will go here, which is Cabello de Mar. I think this looks more up, definitely up his street here. George Scott's here, but Victoria Racing. Yeah, I think was probably unlucky in the Chester Cup when beaten a length by East India Dock. And then came out and franked that form when landing the Boston Handicap over at Haydock on the 24th of May and did it quite convincingly at 10-11 under Callum Shepherd. Now, this obviously gets 2 miles very well, gets the ground well. I think Cabello de Mar, Callum Shepherd keeps the ride for George Scott, and I think we won a big race. Currently, you can get 9-1 with William Hill, but generally 8s around across the board. So that's where my money would go. It'd be each way. You can get 9s with William Hill, and that would be my bet in the final race. So just going to go over the first racing again. But as you know, the French Oaks is tomorrow. Yeah, you've already heard my opinion on that and the bet. On to Ascot Tuesday. My first bet will be Brazilian, but please keep an eye on the market if any movement comes from notable speech. It usually tells you with the Charlie Appleby horses. On to the Coventry Stakes, a minefield. I'm going 2 against the field here. 16-1 each way. Bet 365 with Flushing Meadows and Underwriter at 12s. You can get 14s with William Hill, both each way. King Charles III Stakes, the Group 1, and I think 2 against the field here. But I think Believing could possibly. I didn't think this horse could go back to back. It doesn't happen that often, but I just think winning the Al Quartz Sprint, the horse has come on very well. Obviously, has still got the ability to win big races. I think there's a win perspective. He will probably win at 9-2, and my each way bet at 8-1 generally is Knight Raider. In the 420, as I said, it should really be between the top 2 in the betting. Field of Gold and Ruling Court taking on each other again from the 2,000 guineas. Shadow of Light will probably switch to the Commonwealth Cup. Henry Matisse, I don't think has got the power to win this race. So my each way bet would come in the way of Opera Bello. Each way here, about 16-1 with Bet 365 best odds guaranteed. 5 o'clock is the Ascot State, like I said. So no bet for me. You heard my opinion, Max Man. But that is just from me watching the race and see how it runs. The Wolverton Stakes, I do quite like this race. I think FJR is a really good bet. Each way with Sky Bet at 6-1. fifth of the odds. That would be my bet there, F Jar. And the last race, the Copper Horse Stakes. Again, the horse I hope will switch to this race is the Caballo Del Mar, around 9-1 with William Hill each way. Nice bet there. So that will be my first day's betting at Royal Ascot. Again, the very best of luck to Charlie Fellows and Basha Watts racing tomorrow, which she's perfect. We will be rooting for you to win the race. And have a great day, guys. The best of luck for the first day at Ascot. Don't go too mad. It's not a sprint, guys. It's 5 days worth of great racing. Steady your pace, pace yourself, use your money wisely, bet responsibly. Have a great time, guys. All the best on the level race. Sign out now. Take care.